Hello Simmers and welcome to Oostwold Airport or Airfield basically in the north of the Netherlands, where we are with the Skunkcrafts P-51 Mustang, an airplane that I've had in my virtual hangar for quite some time, but I never did a video about it. The repaint for this airplane that you're looking at right now is Damn Yankee, which is a real world livery as applied to the Mustang operated by Tom van der Meulen from Oostwold Airport. The repaint is not included when you buy this one, but you can download it on the .org forums. It was created by Leen de Jager, and as you can see, it's a magnificent airplane. A beautiful livery. I will add the download link in the description of the video. And the airport or airfield scenery is freeware, also to be downloaded from the forums over at explain.org. And Oostwold is a small airport with a grass runway. Like I said, in the northern part of the Netherlands. Very close to the German border. So what we're gonna do is we'll start up the airplane, take a look at the Skunkcrafts P-51. Listen to the beautiful sounds that are included with this add-on, and then we'll take her for a flight. And we'll just see where we go and where we end up with. It's loaded with fuel, so there's no particular plan other than to show you guys what you get when you buy this beautiful, beautiful add-on. So let's hop into the flight deck. I've enabled track IR. Because, I will switch it off momentarily. Well, as you can see, the flight deck is, beautifully animated. I just don't really like track IR, but you really need it when you are flying this beautiful airplane to pan around quickly. But as you can see, it looks beautiful. Most things work. So let's just start by powering up the airplane. Now I'm not an expert on this airplane, so I probably do a lot of things wrong, but at least this will get the airplane started and we will be able to move. So let's just enable some power. Let's close these two. Check that the rudder and aileron trims are both at 0. We'll select the main fuel tank. We'll set the mixture full rich. Let's slightly decrease the RPM. We'll turn the igniters to both. Fuel booster. Oil dilute. Prime. And then we'll just hit the starter. It won't work because I haven't turned on the fuel supply. Of course, the first thing that you need to do, well, not the first, but quite an important thing that you need to do if you want to start an engine. So, fuel is on. Fuel booster, oil, prime, and starter. Now just listen to this beautiful sound of this Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. Now Leen de Jager has actually painted Tom Karst van der Meulen, the pilot who flies this airplane in real life. It's well, he tours a lot of air shows with it, usually the Dutch Air Force open days. You can most of the times watch this airplane. He also does remembrance flights. In the Netherlands we have the remembrance of World War II on the 4th of May. And well, my hometown Dronten is, well, every year he flies over the square where we have the memorial service. It's always quite impressive. But anyway, let's hop into the flight deck. Now you can actually open and close the canopy. Just listen to the sound, what happens to it. I think that's pretty neat. So let's set flaps for takeoff. Cannot do that yet. What we have to do first is remove the lock from the stick. Now we can actually move around. Perform a flight control check. So left, right, up, down, and the rudder full left, full right. Now if you want to taxi with this airplane and you want to control the tail wheel, you do that with your rudder, but you have to apply maximum forward pressure on the stick in order to release a lock. Because right now, if I don't do anything with the stick and I press left or right rudder, you will only see the rudder move. If I move the yoke completely forward, or backwards it is, then you can actually steer with the tail wheel. So let's just release the parking brakes and taxi out to the runway. Now taxiing is quite a challenge in a tail dragger like this one. What they did in World War II was they zigzag over the taxiway and then they would be able to look past the engine. But I don't want to make you guys sick, so I'll just taxi with the outside view. Oh, we need a little bit of power to come up the hill. Missed out on the yoke there. And let's taxi onto the runway. So let's increase the engine RPM, open the throttle, close the canopy. here we are, gear up. Just listen to that sound. Amazing, I love it. So let's open the RPM a little bit further, or increase the RPM. Flaps up. Heading toward the southwest. You have to forgive me for that black screen you see every now and then. It's just when I move my head with the track IR, I will get behind the seat every now and then, and that's when you get to see like this. I'll try to minimize it, but I can't completely overcome it. So let's reduce some throttle and some engine RPM. Now the airplane comes with functional guns. If you want to use them, in here is a switch where you can actually set camera and sight. That will just give you the crosshairs. If you move this switch up, you get guns, camera and sight, and then you will actually be able to fire your guns. For the interest of safety, we will just switch to camera and sight. This is the only downside of track IR. If you just have to switch off the controls every now and then. Let's close down a little bit of power. Now the airplane has a tendency to bank to the right, so you can overcome that by steering to the left or applying right aileron trim. Let's see, where are we? We are still over the north. We are heading towards Eelde. So let's take a quick look from the outside. Looks like Groningen International Airport Eelde must be to our left. So let's just take a flight. See if we can find that one. Ah, there it is. That's the airport. By the way, another thing that I have installed now is X-Vision. So there's some changes in the color and how the sim looks. That's completely down to X-Vision. I really like it. It's about 23 euros. On the what was it? I thought it was Flight Sim store, but it's really nice. Q8 Pilot did a nice video on how to install it and what you can do with it. It is to be recommended wholeheartedly. Let's just trim down the nose a little bit. Now, of course, the Mustang is a fighter airplane, so I think it's nice to do some aerobatic maneuvers. Let's increase the RPM. Gain a little bit more altitude. It's a beautiful clear day. There's a very strong high pressure area over Europe, making for some amazing flying weather in here. the sound set, like I said before, is just amazing on this airplane. Okay, let's close down the power. Gain a little bit more speed. And let's see if we can do an Immelman. So up, full power. You have to be really careful not to overheat the engine, because it will catch fire if you do. And let's just make a right-hand turn. Flies beautifully. There's no other word for it. The only thing I don't know is how you get this thing right, because that's clearly off. Now this is basically for your gun sight. This is the fixed and gyro, and this is the gyro, which means that the crosshairs will move with the movement of the airplane. And as you can see, the amount of detail also in the cockpit is phenomenal. It's truly a beautiful add-on. I really love it. I think my VFR flying days with Cessnas are over. I'll take this one for a spin, because well, let's just say the amount of power in this airplane is amazing. The scenery that you're looking at, by the way, is just zonephoto.explain.fr photo scenery tiles combined with X Europe 2. The weather is Explain's standard weather combined with Active Sky XP and the textures, the high-res texture set from Active Sky XP. I've gotten rid of SkyMax Pro. Was too unstable on my, well, not unstable, it just ate too much performance on my system, and there was an issue with the memory usage of that of SkyMax, that especially on longer flights it would just consume too much memory, and that would cause extreme drops in frame rates. So let's just set the data output to frame rate so you can actually see the performance right now, which is 40 frames per second. over some very heavy scenery with this add-on. Of course the weather is very light, it's just a couple of clouds. There's very little wind because we are right in the middle of the high pressure area. It's a very calm day, it's beautiful, it's only late February and the temperatures are already above 10 degrees Celsius. I think the normal temperature for this time of year would be 5 or 6. Or even colder. But it looks like it's spring already. So that usually means that in early March we'll get another frost period. At least that was what it was like in the last 2 or 3 years. So we're now entering the province of Friesland, also in the north. I think I'll fly to Lelystad Airport, which is down there. Because that is the airport where this airplane has been based for quite a few years. Tom Karst van der Meulen, the pilot who owns and flies this airplane in real life. I thought he was a dealer for Piper on Lelystad Airport, but I'm not really sure about that, could be wrong. I really would like to know how I can fix this indication, because this just doesn't make any sense. Don't know if I forgot to switch on anything. Oh. These are recognition lights, we don't need them. Landing light is on. What's that? Fluorescent lights, don't need those. Hydraulic pressure is okay, cockpit lights, we don't need them. Parking brake. Well, I can't find anything that would be wrong, but who knows? Let's add in a little bit of power. The airplane is descending slightly. Oh no, it isn't. Let's make a left-hand turn here. Like I said, it was stationed, or it had its home base at Lelystad Airport for quite a few years. I live not too far away from that airport, so on nice days you could actually hear this machine flying over the area practicing aerobatic maneuvers. And with that turbo in the airplane, that's actually a delight to listen to. It's like that whistling sound that you get. Sounded pretty cool. Really, really like this airplane. And the visibility, of course, is magnificent, because wherever you look, you have pretty good views. We are over the lakes in southwest Friesland, going straight for the Noordoostpolder. That will be the Jager Meer, which means Lemmer should be coming up. That's the town of Lemmer. This will be Sint-Nicolaasga. And once you have trimmed the airplane, it just flies so beautiful. The A6 highway running here towards Emmeloord, which is the town up there. Gotta love the sound effects on this add-on. I think that's what really makes this add-on stand out. The sounds, the beautiful engine sounds, the noise of the wind across the canopy when you open or close the canopy, the difference in sound. It's just amazing. And it's all in the box. You don't need to buy an add-on sound package to get that. So we'll just fly towards Oostelijk Flevoland, which is down there. Do some maneuvers there and try to land, which is actually quite a challenge with the tail dragger. I'm not used to doing that. And to add to the difficulty with this airplane, of course, the nose can get quite in the way of your view on the runway. So I don't know how he does that in real life, but I'm sure there's tricks. This is the town of Emmeloord that we are now overflying. That's where the A6 turns right, and the N50 moves on towards the town of Kampen. We'll turn right, follow the A6 to the Ketelbrug, or the bridge over the Ketelmeer. We are. That should be the historical town of Urk. Used to be an island in the Zuiderzee, but when they created the polder, because what we are flying over right now is basically one giant polder. Of course, the island was attached to the mainland. But you can really, if you visit this, it's an old fisherman's town. If you like fish, it's said to be quite good. I don't really like it myself, but if you want good fish in the Netherlands, Urk is one of those old fisherman towns where you can still get it. Now here's the Ketelbrug, the bridge over the Ketelmeer, the lake, which is down there. This is the town of Zwifterband, and that will be the town of Dronten, where I live. So let's just take a left turn. Because right now we are at 4,500 feet. So what we can do is we can increase RPM and power, gain a little bit more altitude. ,500 feet. And let's just close power completely. Let's stall the airplane. 200 knots. Keep applying back pressure on the yoke. 150 knots. Keep pulling on the yoke. 100 knots. Keep pulling on the yoke. I've got the yoke pulled back entirely now, and here we go. Gain speed. Recover. Open the throttle. More speed. go now, and let's make a looping. And here we are again. Slightly below 2,000 feet, so increased power. Now, by the way, down there is Lelystad Airport already, so let's come back on the power, come back on the RPM, and let's make a small flight over this part of the Netherlands where I actually live. And then we'll just call it a flight and try to land at the airport. Like I said before, it is quite important to manage your engine correctly, because if you overheat the engine, it will catch fire. I'm trying really hard to avoid that. There's the town of Dronten, my hometown. Let's see, there's the town of Biddinghuizen, which means we have to fly to the right to get back to the airport in Lelystad. So let's just apply minimum power on the engine, start a descent. Because the airport is down there, that's where we want to land. Let's just see if we can figure out what the wind is doing. Light and variable. Okay, so that means we can land to the southwest. Basically, I don't have a clue about the correct air speeds for flaps and gear down. I think that approximately 150 knots will be a good speed to set the first stage of flaps. So, gear down. increase the RPM. First stage of flaps. That's giving the airplane some drag. Second stage of flaps, which is also maximum flaps. There's 2 stages, so this is the landing flaps. Let's increase power. Trying to slow down. Well, it's happy hour in Lelystad. 3 landings for the price of 1. Oh, crap. Ooh, that's not too good. So, well, we need a lot of landing practice with this airplane. I think... Crap. Let's just see where that went wrong. I think I had the stick pulled back, and that caused, of course, the tail wheel to rotate, so that's a thing to keep in mind. But as soon as you land, as soon as your wheels touch the ground, you have to let go of the stick, or at least keep your rudder steady. The ground handling after landing, that was miserable, to say the least. This would have been a crash, of course, but anyway, that's just because of my bad flying skills. I don't think that has got anything to do with the add-on itself. I'm just absolutely not used to flying tail draggers, which is always a completely different ball game from flying normal tri-gear airplane. So retract the flaps. Let me just taxi from the outside perspective, because taxiing in this thing is actually difficult. I thought the hangar of this airplane was somewhere either over there or down here. Let's just go that way. So parking brake is set. But anyway, that concludes the flight for today. Like I said, I think it's a beautiful add-on. It's really a challenge to fly, especially to land, as you saw in the video. Loved the sound set, loved the textures. This custom livery by Leen the Jager is to be recommended wholeheartedly. It's beautiful. If you know the real world airplane, it's just spot on. It's amazing. Yeah, in my humble opinion, I would recommend this airplane a lot. If you like some VFR flying, some aerobatics, but with a little bit of power, I think the Warbirds are an excellent category, and of course they're beautiful airplane. I think some of the most beautiful airplanes ever designed were designed and built in World War II, with the Mustang and the Spitfire being among the favorites, at least my personal favorites. So I hope you liked the video. If you have any tips, tricks, comments, questions whatsoever, please leave them in the comment section below. And as usual, please do so in a respectful manner. And I hope to see you all again on another day in another flight. So thank you for watching and bye bye.